draft. Right away, 𝗀𝗺 insta-banned by 𝗬𝗀𝗇. And now Workmen thinking about it. A 𝗦𝘂𝗽𝗇𝗺. It's 𝗵𝗶𝗴, but better.
But that is true. It is. And he does have some good pairings with it. And you know, this is the first time we're catching the draft on 𝗬𝗀𝗇's team and Workmen's team. I'm loving what I'm seeing. So as you pointed out, we do got that 𝗦𝘂𝗽𝗺. Does pair up with 𝗬𝗵𝗵𝗴 quite well. Could be a strong opener. Maybe against, of course, the 𝗬𝗵𝗵𝗶𝗴. 𝗬𝗀𝗃 looking okay. But we'll see. 𝗬𝗀𝗇 does have blue side.
For sure.
And the tried and true, you gotta go with it. All right, so taking a look at Workmen's team, what really pressures out a 𝗀𝗺? Or you want to look at what he can pair with the 𝗀𝗺? So maybe something like 𝗬𝗃 looks okay. You get that 𝗬𝗟 pressure as we saw earlier. But once the pair with the 𝗧𝗵𝗺, I almost want a physical damage dealer, but it only looks like it's the 𝗬𝗃𝗃 with the physical damage. And you don't really want to eat up a Noxious Bomb or perhaps a 𝗬𝗟 Noxious Bomb from something like that 𝗀𝗃 starting lineup from 𝗬𝗀𝗇. So, you know, this is a tricky position. 𝗀𝗺 alone putting a lot of work in already into Workmen's team. What can he do? I'm trying to see. I see why Workmen is taking his time. There's not too much of a great option. He's just gonna have to try to guess what that second will be. And you know, interesting enough, he's playing 𝗧𝗵𝗺, but he doesn't have a 𝗧𝗵𝗺, right? So he doesn't have a way of buffing up that 𝗧𝗵𝗺. So just likes to play 𝗧𝗵𝗺 more perhaps offensively with those heavy hitting tornadoes.
Mix and 𝗧𝗵𝗺 opening though for Workmen. Very I would say standard, at least for a slower based game, which is understandable. Again, I've yet to see his mix do a crazy amount. I mean, it sort of does its job for the most part and then sort of fizzles out at the end due to special attack damage. So we'll have to see.
All right, so does go with the mix, and it's not a mix, it's a 𝗬𝗵 mix. So you know, it has that 50% additional damage. And guys, 𝗂𝗵𝗵𝗴 obviously not, but the 𝗬𝗵 is absolutely beautiful and does have some turn 1 pressure just with energy manipulation onto 𝗧𝗵𝗺. So we'll see where that goes. And you know, I think 𝗬𝗀𝗇's team gives a lot of 𝗬𝗀𝗃 users a tough time because he doesn't really have a good Temtem that really gets hurt from 𝗬𝗃. So the most Temtem right now, probably 𝗀𝗺 if it's an anaerobic, as we saw from the previous games. Maybe the 𝗦𝘂𝗽𝗺, right? But water resists that fire, so you get neutral damage. So yeah, 𝗬𝗀𝗃 completely ready to take on these 𝗬𝗃 fishes. Well, here we go. Winner finals time. Who is moving to our grand finals, guys?
Yeah, for sure. The 𝗧𝗵𝗺 opening a bit risky, I would say. This is not the ideal 𝗧𝗵𝗺 opening, but this is the EM could potentially be so big here with the extra turn. And so I just don't see how much damage the subject could potentially do. We might see a double swap, or not a double swap, but at least a single swap here for the 𝗧𝗵𝗺 into potentially the 𝗦𝘂𝗽𝗺. Actually, 𝗦𝘂𝗽𝗺 should be fine here.
Yeah, I could maybe see 𝗧𝗵𝗺 heat up. You don't get too punished. We saw that 𝗧𝗵𝗺 was actually that was gold 𝗧𝗵𝗺, but most 𝗧𝗵𝗺 are relatively tanky in that special defense department. So we'll see. I think a heat up turn 1 really sets up this 𝗧𝗵𝗆 later on. You set it up for 𝗏𝗏, you set it up for Mix, you set it up for 𝗬𝗶𝗴. A single uppercut maybe goes all the way down, if not like 80-70%. So you set it up for that, and of course just good neutral damage onto the fire koi. So I feel like a heat up here, and you save it for down the road, you're looking a-okay.
Crystal Spike's gonna connect into the Volorend here. Does a decent chunk of damage, but Perfect Jab will be thrown out here onto the Mix. Or sorry, onto the Saku. And an Oxygen Bomb will follow. The -1 defense is so big! The Saku takes so much damage with very little follow through. Wind burst to trade, but now the Saku down to 22% HP is in death range.
Yeah, so nice stuff. Wait a second. Wait, Blue, I was a little bit how did you get his mind? Wait, P-jab on 𝗧𝗵𝗆?
Yes, that's a perfect jab on 𝗧𝗵𝗆.
Wow, okay, we usually don't see that, right? All right, so P-jab on the 𝗧𝗵𝗆 followed by that noxious bomb. So not too shabby, really putting the pressure onto Saku, so much so that he has to swap. So you know what? I think Workman was expecting a heat up, nothing coming out of 𝗧𝗵𝗆, but that was big. That was big, and Saku on death's door, just a single attack will put him out. But now Mix has a Psy Surge online, right? That's a heavy hitting mental attack, most likely going into 𝗧𝗵𝗆, but he looked really ready to take out Voloryn first, so it could be going another Crystal Spike into Voloryn.
Swapping in here, the 𝗬𝗶𝗴 will be coming through. The Saku took way too much damage, and the EM will still get that synergy bonus, so a lot of damage to follow through. On top of that exhaustion, the wreck will come down though, bringing rock bottom with him. The Mix takes it into Puppet Master range and will survive. The Strange Vest doing its work there. Bomb to drop onto the 𝗬𝗶𝗴 will do 33% damage. That's the best you can ask for, at least against the 𝗬𝗶𝗴 there.
Yeah, that wasn't all that bad. I wonder if 𝗏𝗆 was considering bringing the Mix into Puppet Master range, because he did exactly that. Maybe trying to say, all right, maybe a Toxic Plume will bring it down after that, because I don't know what the game plan was. Maybe just to have it low enough for the next wreck potentially down the road. But yeah, it's a free Puppet Master range, so Mix, all not that frying, can maybe just stay in another energy manipulation onto that slot. Or onto Voloryn too. I mean, +2 special defense. You kind of want to close it out before it gets out of hand. Something like +5 special defense.
Absolutely. You do not want to let this go out of control, especially when you lack the raw attack power. 𝗏𝗏 will be swapping in here for the Mix. Surprised there. It was safe. 𝗵𝗏 does neutral damage, of course, onto everything. Plague will get thrown down. The 𝗧𝗵𝗆 will be sacrificed for that play. At least perhaps this is just a kill for the 𝗬𝗶𝗴, but no Toxic Plume throws out, trying to kill off the Mix, but the Mix had more than enough HP to live. That is a question mark, to be sure.
Workman showing his true colors, playing fantastic, reading a lot of good reads on 𝗏𝗆's, just not in his head, but knows exactly what 𝗏𝗆 is doing, at least for these couple turns, knowing that wreck was coming in. You bring in 𝗬𝗶𝗴, no damage on the 𝗬𝗶𝗴. Thinking Toxic Plume was coming in that turn, you swap in the Mix, 𝗬𝗶𝗴 takes nothing, and of course 𝗬𝗶𝗴, you don't need the Mix to close it out on 𝗧𝗵𝗆. 𝗬𝗶𝗴 did just that by himself, so really well played for Workman. It has come at a bit of a cost. If you look here at the scoreboard, Saku's in his 20%, Heartless, the Mix is in that 20, same as 𝗬𝗶𝗴, so one Temtem is down for 𝗏𝗆. But that health differential is starting to show. It's starting to show a bit on Workman, so he's not too far ahead. But for the first couple turns, I think he has taken it. But we'll see. We said we can't let that Voloryn get too out of hand, and it's looking like it's about to.
Swapping in the 𝗂𝗶𝗆 comes through, so the damage is gonna go into the 𝗏𝗃. The 𝗏𝗃, it has a lot on its plate, has to kill off the 𝗬𝗶𝗴 here as they both stay in. The Plague will keep the 𝗏𝗃 caged into position. So we'll be able to take care of that, but 𝗏𝗏𝗏 goes onto the 𝗏𝗏𝗏, so basically denying it madness potential at all.
Yeah, and we saw... I was just gonna say, we saw how much damage Crystal Spike did onto 𝗏𝗏𝗏. Not a whole lot, so I think that was a good 𝗏𝗏𝗏. It really pressures the 𝗏𝗏𝗏. Now an uppercut followed by actually a single uppercut might take it into that 32% range, which you need right now, right? 32% is 3 toxic ticks. And then something like a toxic ink on the 𝗃𝗏𝗏 doesn't seem that bad. You might get kill potential on both of these Tems. Let's see what Workmen can do.
I thought the uppercut would kill the 𝗃𝗏𝗏 there, but obviously prioritizing the 𝗏𝗏𝗏, it's one of the Tems here that Workman has to play for to do damage. So understandably so. That 𝗏𝗏𝗏 has, I would say 𝗏𝗏𝗏 has the HP advantage. For sure. Having an extra Tem here does not really matter too much if they're too low to fight back. So this is gonna be a little bit dangerous. Crystal Spikes comes through, only 23% damage is not good enough. The 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏 takes even more punishment, not even below 50% HP comes out here. So just trying to go all in here, but the uppercut will for sure deal a lot more damage onto the 𝗏𝗏𝗏. The toxic ticks kills the 𝗃𝗏𝗏 outright. But that actually helps. The 𝗏𝗏𝗏 will heal up here and now lives the toxic ticks. Still, this is a bit scary. No madness buff on 𝗏𝗏𝗏. This damage is not good enough, I think.
Yeah, not in the likes. This looks like a really special defensive 𝗏𝗏𝗏, plus that double screen mitigating so much damage. And the 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏 is just always not naturally tanky, but as well built with a lot of special defense, most likely taking a lot of attacks from this 𝗏𝗏𝗏. So much so that a single uppercut into 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 should be enough, followed by that toxic tick. And man, for 𝗏𝗏𝗏 bringing things back around, we saw it was the HP making the big difference, and he just needs a couple hits now, right? Saku, 1 toxic ink brings it down. 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, 1 uppercut brings it down. And he has Voliran in the backline for that 𝗂𝗀𝗏𝗏. So let's see how it plays out.
Crystal Dust thrown down, so just slowly chipping away as much as possible. 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 going to kill the Saku again. Gambit after Gambit here. The 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 is trying to live as much as possible. But Workman, he can't keep doing this. He still has to kill so many Tems.
Yeah, you know, 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 still alive only because of these scavenger procs, but hey, there's another Crystal Spiker. It's gonna be the mix, but I think 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 has this one set in stone. Not exactly, but everything, of course, Puppet Master is online, so everything has to go into 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 here. So what can he do? Another 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, maybe to go on to 𝗂𝗀𝗏𝗏 if that is gonna be brought out. And maybe just a simple ice stalactite. If that's the case, I wonder if double Crystal Spike, the 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 is the play here. You lose your 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 either way, but Mix has an easier time against the 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, right?
Absolutely. The Psy Surge will potentially deal with the 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. And that's probably the plan here for the most part. 𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗏 once again gets shot. So Crystal Spikes has to be 22% damage. It is. So the 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 lives again. Oh my god. This 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 is the most... Oh, no, it doesn't. No, it does not live. The 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 says no. Enough for that. Stop that. 𝗂𝗀𝗏𝗏 forced out here. Actually, no, sorry. That's 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏's nature 𝗂𝗀𝗏𝗏. And of course, the fire 𝗂𝗀𝗏𝗏 on the side of Workmen. So fire versus nature, and the 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 against this mix.
And I gotta give a lot of respect over to 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. We don't see too many nature 𝗂𝗀𝗏𝗏, especially in one of these finals positions like he's finding himself in. So nice bringing this nature 𝗂𝗀𝗏𝗏, saying, you know what, I don't play the fire 𝗂𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗏. We're out here with the nature 𝗂𝗂𝗏𝗏. So what, I mean, he does have water cannon synergy online, but he's gonna go with the WCL. How much is that gonna do? Wow, over 50%. It's that wardrobe attached to it as well.
Exactly. The 𝗂𝗀𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 trade will not go his favor. The Urushio as well does not help the situation. The side surge gonna guarantee the kill on the Mashuk, but as we saw, the Koish on the side of 𝗬𝗵𝗶𝗶 will go first, so I don't think this is a win potentially, at least for the first game here for Workman. 𝗬𝗵𝗶𝗶 might have his number.
I think so too. We saw WCL go first. 𝗵𝗵𝗶 is also 3 proud, so that at least goes first. But the WCL to close it on the Fire Koish. So GG. 𝗬𝗵𝗶𝗶 will be taking this game number 1 following this turn, of course.
Crystal Spike's doing its best, but +3 special defense says no thank you. Feather Gatling will follow. And the Puppet Master mix does go down for the side of Workmen. And once again, area. So let's see how they mix it up on the second game.
Yeah, and we're going here, flipping it over. We were watching from 𝗬𝗵𝗶𝗶's side, but we will be watching from Workman's side now. So let's see. I mean, the biggest problem I want to say was that Valorant, but doesn't decide to ban it. Instead, I guess Naga, he does have a speedier team, so that does make sense. And what would he have against the Naga? Something like a 𝗬𝗺𝗺, 𝗬𝗺𝗺, 2 Crystal Tems, but they're fast. So I guess I see the Nagas, yeah. But I feel like this Valorant is so crazy into Workman's team.
Well, as far as we've seen, I think 𝗬𝗵𝗶𝗶 is actually running a 1-speed 𝗬𝗵𝗵𝗃, and the reason I say that is because it always goes last, and 𝗬𝗵𝗃 isn't like, you know, horribly slow. So even with a little bit of the faster moves, the 𝗬𝗵𝗃 isn't getting there. So maybe Workman is thinking that even if he bans Golder, potentially 𝗬𝗵𝗃 could just open with Naga or 𝗬𝗵𝗃, and suddenly you're gonna get punished by running an 𝗬𝗂𝗏 again. Incredible. But opening with a 𝗬𝗺𝗺 this time, so not susceptible to, well, really any Tem on 𝗬𝗵𝗃's team. 𝗬𝗵𝗃 loves running toxic Tems, we know this. So this 𝗬𝗺𝗺 is actually gonna counteract a lot of these Tems.
Yeah, 𝗬𝗵𝗃 not caring about the mental, and 𝗬𝗺𝗺 decides to pick up Mashuk regardless. I think the idea there, 𝗬𝗺𝗺 is his only toxic Temtem, so anything on that right spot is free Urushos for days. You just Urusho, swap out Urusho. I believe that's 𝗬𝗵𝗃's game plan.
Yeah, the 𝗬𝗺𝗺 probably potentially as well. It's able to deal with the Nature Koish as well as the Size Munchers, so it will play a big factor. It's gonna be interesting what Workman decides to pair here. He's taking a lot of time. I mean, I don't even know what he wants to pair with this, because he's already seen what happens to Saku. He still goes with it, but I'm concerned for this. Maybe perhaps he's hoping to trade for Mashuk here in the opening turn. We saw Perfect Jab, Noxious Bomb, instantly kills. Ooh, that mix ban is really interesting to me. Removing the second collaborator potential, of course, but I wouldn't say that would be the biggest fear for me if I was 𝗬𝗵𝗃 though. I would say banning something like the 𝗬𝗏 or the 𝗬𝗃 would have been bigger. Well, obviously 𝗬𝗃 is actually fine against his team, but 𝗬𝗏 maybe get rid of potential carry damage, because right now Workman is actually hard pressed for where his damage is gonna come from to fight these toxic Tems.
Yeah, perhaps thinking, you know, we got 𝗧𝗵𝗃 and 𝗬𝗏𝗃's on 𝗬𝗃's team, so maybe not fearing that 𝗬𝗏 too much. Without the madness buff on the 𝗬𝗏, even Mashuk was able to withstand those crystal spikes and do a little bit more. So maybe just fearing the mental, just the mental in the mix. That's probably what 𝗬𝗃 has in mind. But here we go, getting the neutral Temtem paired up with the Firefish. How is it gonna fare? Is he gonna turn things around? This is a best of 3 matchup in our winners finals for this Plus Cup number 8. Is 𝗬𝗃 the first tamer in our grand finals, or can Workman work it out and bring things back for himself? I mean, we're gonna find out, so let's jump into it. And you know, Blue, I like what you said, because this is a potential to kill Mashuk in a single turn, right? Wind Burst plus Beta Burst, is that enough?
Down to the trade here. This is what I think this is what Workman is hoping for, is getting a pick off on this 𝗲𝗃, but the 𝗲𝗃 is so tanky. Look at how much damage it just absorbed, and the 𝗧𝗃 is not gonna have fun. The 𝗧𝗃 in fact is guaranteed dead here. Wind Burst thrown out, and the trade isn't there.
And very close. I mean, leaves 𝗲𝗃 on death's door, just a single attack. One energy manipulation, which is indeed 3 prio, should be able to go first. Before 𝗲𝗃 is able to do anything, that should kill. But as you said, Blue, that 𝗧𝗃 is way too powerful. It makes 𝗧𝗃 guaranteed to die within the next 2 turns. You do have Lifeful Sap, but if you stay in here, if you stay in for Lifeful Sap, you're gonna go down.
Turbo Choreography expunged. Understanding that G understands that even if 𝗲𝗃 goes down here, if you get the punish over, if you get the turbo over, the Volarant will just be able to abuse that. So Toxic Plume comes out here to secure the kill, and 𝗧𝗃 doesn't die, so it gets a chance to try and tornado, and in fact it does. Gets the damage out, only 24% though, but it did all it could before going down. So Workman gets what he wanted, which was a 1-for-1 trade. Now the question is, how does he continue on this? Because the Volarant is already getting up there, and again, only the 𝗧𝗃𝗃 can deal with it. So right now, Workman, I think the Adorables has to live. It's sort of a win condition here for Workman, mainly because, again, there's still that Nature 𝗂𝗃, and the Nature 𝗂𝗃 does so much damage.
Alright, so elects to go with 𝗂𝗶𝗴 on Workman's side, 𝗂𝗀𝗶𝗃 on 𝗬𝗀𝗽's side. Maybe try and predict a 𝗂𝗃 swap in, getting those 2 Toxics ready for it, but no, 𝗂𝗶𝗴 comes in, so not too effective into either of these Tems, a little bit more into 𝗂𝗀𝗶𝗃 than the Volley, since Volarant already started to stack up that special defense, and we said it from the picks and ban, this Volarant is just such a problem for Workman's team, especially an anaerobic Volarant to make things worse.
EM connects onto the Volarant, does a decent, does a small amount of damage. Toxic Ink though following through, and the trade's just not going in the favor of Workmen here, and this is sort of what just the problem right now. Even though Workman does have that Valash and that 𝗂𝗃 backline, the front line is the problem here. The slow chip-aways are just not gonna win here.
Yeah, honestly, 𝗬𝗀𝗽 can stay firm with this team right now. Doesn't even have to move too much. That sweatband on the Volarant doing so much just back-to-back FG potentials. But no, 𝗬𝗀𝗽 wants to save that win condition for down the road, bringing out the 𝗂𝗃. And now you got that water-cutting Lily synergy with the 𝗂𝗀𝗃. So that WCL is about to do some work. I'm excited to see it. We'll see it maybe perhaps going into Valash here soon.
Yeah, the Valash taking toxic ticks here has to do a lot. But now the Nature 𝗂𝗃 is on the field. Do not underestimate quadruple damage. This Toxic Ink will probably one-shot the 𝗂𝗃, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, very true. Very true. It's exactly like a 𝗶𝗶𝗆, 2x damage on Nature and the water. Is it worth to try to kill Valash? Will it work? I mean, something like a Aqua Stone Water Jet plus a WCL probably kills. Pretty sure it kills. But if Workman is running something like Toxic Gas, Toxic Ink, that should be enough. As you said, 4x damage is nothing to laugh at. 𝗂𝗃 could be out of here very quickly, but might survive. Honestly, might survive one, maybe. Knowing 𝗬𝗀𝗽, he probably tech for like 1 Toxic Ink or something like that.
Ooh, 𝗂𝗃 gets swapped out here. Understanding probably doesn't want to stay in. So the 𝗧𝗵𝗺 will be swapped in. The Sea Spice come through. So all inning on that spot where the 𝗬𝗵 is thrown down, reading the potential swap, and it gets it done. So 𝗬𝗵 connecting is big. Of course, no second collaborator or otherwise, but the damage is there, and the 𝗧𝗵𝗺 collaborated here.
Yeah, so now it leaves Workmen in a tough situation because 𝗧𝗵𝗺 coming out the turn before does indeed mean 𝗧𝗵𝗺 Rec is online. I think even without a heat up, I believe 40% should be pretty easy for the 𝗧𝗵𝗺 to accomplish. So that 𝗧𝗏 most likely cannot stay in. It's kind of risky, but 𝗬𝗵 doesn't feel that bad. But I think 𝗂𝗀𝗵𝗃 is going to follow up that Rec with just doubling in on that spot. Because you don't really lose anything, right? You could Rec. If the 𝗏𝗏 stays in, the 𝗏𝗏 dies. If the 𝗂𝘀𝗶 comes in and you double with 𝗂𝗀𝗵𝗃, 𝗂𝘀𝗶 takes a big hit. And then Toxic Ink probably brings it back around to that red HP. If 𝗬𝗵 comes in, Rec misses. But Toxic Ink still connects and kills the 𝗬𝗵. So this is just a really tough swap. If something's going down or something's just taking big damage, this 𝗧𝗵𝗺 was the perfect swap for 𝗬𝗃𝗽, so really well done on that turn 5.
Absolutely. So swap out here for the 𝗏𝗏. Does not want to eat that rock bottom, of course. Swapping in for the 𝗬𝗵. So again, priority energy manipulation. So one more of that should kill the 𝗧𝗵𝗺. But speaking of killing, rock bottom is thrown down here. The 𝗬𝗵 should get obliterated, but of course, oh no, 𝗬𝗵 is team elusive. I forgot. That's how that works. So it's nullified. It doesn't even die to the strangle.
Yeah, okay, I guess Strangle is good as well. I thought a Toxic Ink was kind of safe, but maybe didn't want to overexert that big, or when it's I guess if you kill the 𝗬𝗵, instead of leaving it unable to do anything, you let something like a big water cannon potential coming in from the 𝗂𝘀𝗶. So I guess I could see the Strangle. I think he didn't want to kill 𝗬𝗵, or was hoping maybe the Strangle kill. Either way, I think this works out for him.
Well, the good news here is 𝗂𝗀𝗵𝗃 and 𝗬𝗵 are both overexerted, so neither of which can help with dealing damage. The 𝗧𝗵𝗺 stays in to dim mock the 𝗬𝗏𝗺, but the defense is incredibly high. Still does a ridiculous amount of damage, but the 𝗬𝗵 will kill off the 𝗧𝗵𝗺, which is big. Now the 𝗬𝗏, though, on the side of 𝗬𝗃𝗽, Feather Gatling is still gonna kill off this 𝗬𝗏𝗺. And on top of that, it can't stop a nature 𝗂𝘀𝗶 anymore. It's gonna get swapped in here, and there is no Toxic Ink to stop it.
Yeah, so good. Brought out the 𝗂𝘀𝗶 a little bit earlier, but fearing that Toxic Ink. But as you said, Blue, there was no more Toxic Ink around. 𝗬𝗏𝗺 overexerted the previous turn, so free to run this 𝗂𝘀𝗶 is. Obviously, could go into that 𝗬𝗶 slot. 𝗬𝗶 should be going down this very turn, but maybe gets off something depending on that 𝗬𝗶 speed, which usually is pretty speedy. So Plague probably comes through. Doesn't do a whole lot. It's just looking like a neutral pressure. But with this Voldaren being the sweatband target at +3 special defense and that 𝗂𝗀𝗵𝗃 in the back, the only true damage dealer potential will be this 𝗏𝗏. He's not Madness buff, so it's going to be a bit tricky, but maybe Workman could still try to bring things back around. Here he is, trying to take advantage of perhaps a scavenger proc.
Ooh, Feather Gatling making it a little bit close, though. If this WCL is on that 𝗬𝗏𝗺 spot, you will be facing a nightmare, but it goes on the 𝗬𝗵. So this 𝗏𝗏 will heal up, and the Feather Gatling right away. And the 𝗬𝗏𝗺 comes back in. Now, at the clutch, Toxic Ink to kill the 𝗂𝘀𝗶.
Yeah, and it has it online, so it's ready to go. However, does 𝗏𝗏 fall before then? Toxic Ink is normal prio, so WCL outspeeds, HKS outspeeds. Oh, you're right.
oh, the strange vest. Oh, sorry, the double screen. Not enough there. So the 𝗂𝘀𝗶𝗴 is now uncontested, and this is the concern, because this 𝗂𝘀𝗶𝗴 hits like a truck. Look at how much damage that did. What happened to your scavenger buff? The lash, it's gone. The sea spikes is not enough to drop it below 50%, and we know 𝗬𝗀𝗺 isn't going to cut it. What a disaster. Workmen unable to push
it's
through
water,
this
right?
nature
So
𝗂𝘀𝗶𝗴.
it will be neutral damage. If it was just nature, of course, I think a 𝗬𝗀𝗺 synergize should kill the 𝗂𝘀𝗶𝗴 from this position, but since it's neutral damage, I don't think it is. But you know what? That 𝗬𝗂𝗽𝗇 turbo from that second turn coming into play. It looks like the Volrun gets to go first.
Oh! The 𝗂𝘀𝗶𝗴 died!
Oh, jeez.
That's so big. That's still some solid poke, but now the 𝗬𝗺𝗺, just a harder boss after the other. Now even bigger problem arises here for the side of Workmen. He gets that kill, but I don't think there's enough to power through this.
Yeah, I think, because, you know, I think 𝗬𝗺𝗺 would have killed with a Feather Gatling. Maybe the idea was to really stack up that special defense, but there goes the FG. Does it kill? No, it does not. There's a hope. There's a hope and a prayer.
Oh my god, there's no way. The Volrun dies as well. Oh,
wow.
Oh no, there's no way. The 𝗬𝗺𝗺 has to win this. There's nothing Workmen can do. This is for sure 𝗬𝗺𝗺's victory. But oh my god, Workmen made him work for his money. Jesus.
Yeah, it almost seems tough. I mean, I keep saying it. If there was no such thing as stamina, it could go Workmen's way. But look at that 𝗬𝗺. He's running low. Rainbow Guard on himself, taking away that toxic tick. Did he overexert? Not yet. But wow, 𝗬𝗺𝗺, perfectly executed, gets rid of the 𝗬𝗺 and gets rid of the big damage dealer. So yeah, I don't think a water cannon, I don't think it cuts a 𝗬𝗺. That's 1/2 damage.
And it overexerts. Yes, unfortunately, Workman, he tried. He got it real close, but 𝗬𝗺𝗺 was still alive. So.